YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. And today we got tight end rankings for the 2020 NFL season. Went through quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. Now we're on the tight ends. 32 to number 1 again for this season. So this is really isn't based on the past. Basically predictions here. And I will include rookies in all these rankings because they will play this year. So I know some people are a little surprised by that, but we're not focusing on the past. We're moving forward here, and we'll move on to offensive lineman rankings next week, and then so on. Please subscribe to both of our channels. We're trying to reach 60K on both of them by week 1 of the NFL season, so we need your help there. We would really appreciate the support. Follow that Twitter. We got polls on there where you guys can vote who the best player at each position is, kind of like a bracket, and constant NFL and Goat House content there, so it's a must follow. And we have a podcast as well. Link in the description, in the comments, anything you might need. Let's start at the bottom here, 32 to 25 for the tight ends for 2020. And so at 32, we got Jimmy Graham, who's now on the Chicago Bears. Has been a little bit of a disappointment in the recent years on the Packers, but the Bears bring him in. They're going to use him a lot in the red zone, along with their rookie tight end, who I will talk about here in a moment. And we got Jay Sternberger at 31. So Sternberger, I think it's a little bit bold to put him in here because they have other tight ends. We didn't get to see Sternberger too much last year. Expect to see him more. They did draft Josiah DeGuara, who I like a lot, actually, out of Cincinnati. But I think the reason they kind of held off on, extra receivers is because Sternberger is kind of that flex tight end. Almost like a receiving tight end. They're going to put him in the slot a ton. So I really think they're going to get him going this year. A lot of action. And the same thing goes for another second-year tight end, RUDOLPH Smith Jr. of the Vikings. We started to see him kind of get used a little more towards the end of last year as a very athletic, receiving type flex tight end. And they have Rudy for inline. So RUDOLPH Smith, I think, will get a lot of reps there in the slot. They lost Stephon Diggs too. I know it's a totally different type of target, but they will use RUDOLPH Smith more in the receiving game. Of course, they're going to use him along with Kyle Rudolph. So same thing. Sternberger, Smith using the receiving game a ton for the second-year athletic tight ends. Darren Fells of the Texans, kind of their red zone target there. I expect another big year from him. Chris Herndon at 28. A little bit bold here because we haven't really seen much of him. And I definitely expect more. I think a very good athletic tight end, but we need to see more. He could possibly, his talent says he can be better than 28, but we just need to see him on the field there more, but I think he'll be used quite a bit. 27 is Greg Olsen, another guy, I think could be much better in this if he's healthy. That, is he going to be healthy the full season, though? That's kind of the question for Greg Olsen, unfortunately. But, a long-time vet, obviously, so still being able to play at that level is pretty impressive. I got a rookie tight end here, my number one in the draft class tight end, and the Bears draft him. I got him at 26. I think it's going to be an excellent red zone target for the Bears. They needed a solid tight end that can play. They got Kmet and Graham. I think Kmet's used a little more. Maybe Graham from right away from the start. But I think they're going to try to replicate what the Eagles were doing, with their double tight ends. So I think they're going to, we're going to see something similar to that. So they're going to use these tight ends quite a bit. They've kind of been lacking that in the past, so these guys should get some action. 25 is O.J. Howard. It's a tough one because O.J. Howard has so much potential. Has been a little bit of a letdown recently. Now he has Tom Brady, so that's kind of the good. But then they do have Gronk, so that could take away some production. But I can see them using, Gronk, Cameron Brate, similar style time. So I see them using Gronk and Howard quite a bit. So production actually could go up, but need to see more from O.J. Howard for sure. The next group of tight ends, I got Eifert at 24. Now on the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think that out of the last 10 years, I think Eifert has been, in terms of the talent itself, I think been better, one of the better tight ends in all of football, really. Just if he stayed healthy, I think he could have been considered in that. Right now, even at his age, if he stays healthy, he could be push a top 15 tight end. I think he's that talented, a well-balanced tight end that can do a bit of everything. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. People focus on yardage too much for tight ends. There is way more to the tight end position than that, so maybe those people that are basically focusing on yards may be confused by some of my rankings, but Eifert, all-around balanced tight end. 24, though, what does he have left in the tank? Can he stay healthy? A lot of question marks there, but I recognize the talent for sure. Dawson Knox of the Bills, a second-year tight end out of Ole Miss. Very athletic tight end down the field, too. Catch the ball down the field, but very solid blocker as well. I think underrated in that aspect of his game, and they really got him going down the stretch too. So this guy is a guy that can continue to climb. If you're basing off production last year, maybe not, maybe not fully there, but I think he's going to make his way up. And again, this is kind of predicting this year. Blake Jarwin at 22 got that big contract. Now it's time to prove it. I think the Cowboys are going to throw the ball a lot, mainly to the receivers, of course. But Jarwin has been a pretty solid, underrated option for them. Hayden Hurst at 21. I think he can have more success with the Falcons. They value that tight end. They're going to throw the ball a ton. We know that. With Matt Ryan, that receiver unit, I think Hurst, this could kind of revive his career right here. So hasn't really been anywhere close to number 21, but he's been sitting behind at least one tight end, Mark Andrews, and maybe even some less playing time than some of the other guys as well. But he'll be the guy for the Falcons. So another guy that can continue to climb up this list. 20 is Will Dissly. Will Dissly's a beast. I think this guy could potentially be a top 10 tight end. It's just another one of those injury possible prone. We don't know for sure yet. Tight ends, 2 years in, 2 years injured, but he's very talented, especially with Russell Wilson. So this is a guy to look out for if he stays healthy. Another guy that has talent-wise, better than number 20. Mike Gesicki of the Dolphins, 19, really starting to catch fire, at the end of last year. We see the leaping ability in the red zone. We see him in the open field racking up the yards. So it's a guy that can continue to grow. We'll see who will be the quarterback. But either way, we know Tua could be the better option, but Fitzpatrick and Gesicki were really starting to get a connection going there. I got Ebron at 18. I believe in him in this system. And most people like to rip Ebron. They got a pretty big room though. Vance McDonald, and they use Claypool the same way they use Ebron, kind of a flex tight end perhaps. So maybe that'll limit his production, but I think it's a perfect fit there. I think they'll air it to him deep, as they should, kind of sneak him out downfield. And then he's the former Colt. Now we see a current Colt, Jack Doyle here, an all-around tight end. So yeah, maybe he's not going to rack up the yards, and maybe those people that are going to base things off yards, I mean, he can, but maybe the people that will base things off yards could be confused about 17, but an all-around balanced tight end of the Colts there. We're on to the top 16. I got Dallas Goedert at number 16. Pretty impressive because he's a number 2 tight end, but the Eagles use tight ends almost as much as anybody in the league there. So Goedert getting better every step of the way. Very good athletic tight end. I like to use him in the middle of the field. And he can start creeping up on Zach Ertz perhaps here in the near future. I got Tyler Higbee at 15. Another one of those balanced tight ends. You're going to get pretty much everything from him. You're not going to get any wow moments maybe, but a pretty good room there as well. They got Everett and now they draft the tight end out of Purdue as well. So I think, having, Hopkins, Higbee, and Everett, could, I guess limit the production. But I still think Higbee is, I think he's their main target. I mean, he's got to be their main target. But in terms of, who's going to get that second amount of reps? Everett's been solid. But I think Hopkins can start. They drafted him for a reason. He's a pretty good threat, athletic threat for a reason, and they drafted him for a reason, of course. So I think that they can limit some of these guys, but mainly Everett, not really Higbee. Noah Fant at 14, crazy athletic tight end. A first-round prospect for a reason a year ago, and I thought he was kind of more of the raw prospect. We're not going to see him do a whole bunch right away, but a ton in the future. That's kind of was my thoughts on him because he's so athletic. He has more to his game than just being athletic, but maybe try to ease in the NFL at the NFL level, but that was wrong. I thought he did a lot more than I expected, especially down the stretch of the season. Now he's got his quarterback set in there in Drew Lock, so I like Noah Fant a lot. So I definitely think top 15 is going to be a threat with that that total package receiver core now, receivers and tight ends included. Evan Engram, maybe a little risky putting him, this high. It's not extremely high because we know his talent level. We know where his skill is at. This guy could be an absolute beast. We need to see him stay on the field. Had some injuries keeping him off. But if this guy's on the field, which I'm kind of banking on him being, this is definitely a threat. So I got him at number 13. Hopefully he stays healthy. We're moving on. Number 12 is Kyle Rudolph, a guy that's kind of been in the top 10 most of his career. I think super important in that Vikings team, an all-around tight end. I still think one of the better red zone threats in all of football. We talked about Irv Smith. I mean, they try to get Irv Smith going more in the open field. That can take away some production from Rudolph, so that kind of keeps him out of the top 10. He's kind of is aging too. Not that he's really old or anything, but still will be that giant threat in the red zone. Can it start getting obvious, though? It seems like it's either run or goal line fade to Rudolph in the red zone. So we'll see if that starts to get obvious. But obviously, a very important piece to them. Jared Cook, another risky one putting high. He had the production yardage wise last year. Did miss some games as well. I mean, he racked up some touchdowns as well. But 33 years old. Can we expect him to miss some games? I think it's a really good fit with the Saints, seeing him to kind of revive his career here. So let's see if he can run it back. That's kind of going to be one of the interesting things to watch in these tight ends. I got Jonnu Smith cracking the top 10. Really hasn't been a top 10 tight end yet, but kind of solidified himself as their guy last year. As their guy. Delaney Walker was so good for them, but their injuries racked up, unfortunately, and then he's aging. So he's on the outs, obviously, and Jonnu Smith, and I think Anthony Ferkser will be their number 2. He's starting to make a name for himself as well. Jonnu Smith is an athletic freak. They can give him a screen pass. They can throw him the goal line fade. He can do a bit of everything. It's been extremely impressive. So I think this is the year this freak cracks the top 10 there. So maybe a little bold. It shouldn't really be too much. I got Austin Hooper at number 9, and some people worry about taking him away from the Falcons, so like system-based, and they get him going in the red zone. And I kind of worried about that as well, but I think he goes to the perfect situation of the Browns, one of those teams that will run more tight ends than anybody, but get the ball to their tight ends more than anybody. It's going to be interesting because it's going to be running backs, tight ends, even though they have those top receivers, those top tier duo receivers there. But Hooper will get his action. He'll get his action, so I'm still confident he'll be a top 10 tight end there. I think a little better in the red zone than the open field, but he can make some noise there. So we'll see how it goes. We're on to the top 8. I could surprise some people here in a second, but I got Hunter Henry at 8, a really good athletic tight end, another one of those guys that's really dangerous in the open field, in the middle of the field there. Needs to stay healthy. Could be better than this if he stays healthy. I think, when I watch him, when he's fully healthy, this guy is very good. I think he could be talent-wise, could be better than number 8. Getting a little excited here for Hunter Henry if he stays healthy. But the question is, the quarterback play. It doesn't have Phillip Rivers anymore. Tyrod Taylor, Justin Herbert could possibly get the job done, but it's a little bit of a question, so keeps him at 8. Darren Waller at number 7, racked up a ton of yards. It is a little bit about more than the yards there, but he can do more than that. But maybe that's what keeps him down. Another thing is I think they'll try to target their receivers a little more. Tyrell Williams, they're going to use him quite a bit more this year. And then Henry Ruggs, of course, I think will make his name for the number 1 guy with the Raiders. And they're going to get Renfro the ball a little more. Guys like that. So they could take away a little bit from Waller. But at the same time, it's a guy that kind of just made him names for himself last year. So he can continue to improve. That could be the scary thing. I got Mark Andrews at number 6, touchdown machine last year, but also racking up some yards there in the open field. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's top target, and they were able to move on from Hayden Hurst there because of that, so it's very impressive. And he's still young, continuing to get better. So I got him at number 6, and this is where I think some people in the comments will rip me. I got T.J. Hockenson at number 5, and I can't stress this enough. This is basically predictions for the 2020 NFL season. And to kind of maybe try to change the people that disagree with me here, to try to change their opinion on disagreeing with me here. If I would have ranked, if I would have ranked Mark Andrews or Darren Waller at number 5 or around here last year, you would have ripped me then. But they ended up being that good. That's just an example. Guys like Darren Waller, you would have called me crazy. They ended up being that good. So this is basically, we're moving forward here. We're getting ready for the 2020 season. T.J. Hockenson is one of the better tight end prospects I've really ever seen. He had some injuries pop up here and there, a bad concussion. This guy's an absolute freak, and he's an all-around tight end. Can block very well. He can catch the ball downfield. He can catch that short to the medium routes anywhere. So this guy's going to be an absolute beast. I think he's going to make his way. We can possibly be talking about T.J. Hockenson, the best tight end, the number 1 best tight end in football in a couple years here. So I think this year he already enters the top 5. Rip me all you want. That's my prediction. This guy is a beast. He just needs to stay on the field. And so we're clear, a guy like Mark Andrews has been better. Hawkinson's only been playing 1 year, but this is for 2020. We're on the top 4. I got Zach Ertz at number 4 of the Eagles. Consistency. We know we're gonna get from Zach Ertz. I think he's pretty clutch for them down the stretch last season when they really need to start getting going, win games. You remember that comeback against the Giants, prime time games like that. But nothing surprising. We know that from Ertz. The main target there. But add some speed on the outside, receiver. They're gonna get Dallas Goedert going more. So Maybe that's the difference why he's not top 3, but obviously still a very good tight end. Gronkowski at number 3. To me, in terms of talent, in terms of domination, how dominant the player was, this is the best tight end in NFL history, talent-wise. And I think, I don't have him at number 1. It's going to be a little tough getting back into it, but there's some people that are overreacting at that aspects. You see how skinny he is. He's not going to get back. It's a professional athlete. These guys are crazy. They're just built different. He's going to look like the same old Gronk. They'll probably take it a little easy at first. They have 2 other solid tight ends. So maybe in terms of the regular season, not a whole bunch of production. And they're, I don't want to say save him because they're going to use him to win games regular season, but try to keep him fresh for the long run here as well down the stretch of the season playoffs. Travis Kelce at number 2. There's always that debate, Kittle versus Kelce, and it's very, very close. I think Kelce's about staying the same as where he was last couple years, which is an elite tight end and very crucial for them, a big impact player. Kittle seems to be getting better somehow, and that's absolutely scary. So that slight difference could be the factor. Another thing is, Kelce has the best player in football, and I'm not one of those people that are going to deduct points. We'll make a point system out of it, I guess, or ranking system. I'm not going to deduct that if you got the best quarterback in football, a really good quarterback thrown to you. But that could be the difference maker here. One is a big difference from one to the other, but mainly Kittle seems like potentially he could get better, and he's just so impressive, so dominant at times. Not that Kelce isn't. So I got Kittle at number 1. You see how good these top tier tight. A big difference. You see like the receiver rankings. Maybe some guys in the top 10, maybe a guy at number 5. Not that much of a difference between him and a guy that's ranked in the 20s, but you look at tight ends, huge difference, absolutely huge difference there from the top guys here. But, let me know your guys' thoughts. Who you guys think that is going to step up? Like I got TJ Hawkinson stepping up big time this year. Obviously, I got big hopes for him. If you agree, disagree, let me know. If you got anybody, secret tight end like that, let me know in the comments. Please smash the like button. Check us out on Twitter. There's a link down in the description comments for that. Please subscribe to both channels. That is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.